and welcome to another video with me, Elmo J. Karjalainen, and it's good to have you along. You can call me this guy if you find my name unpronounceable. Today I'm taking a look at the top 10 guitar players ever. Okay, so, like I said, today I'm taking a look at the top 10 guitar players ever seen on the face of this planet. These are just my kind of favorites. It's a subjective subject, so if there's someone you think I forgot, please let me know in the comments. If you wholeheartedly disagree and want to spew bile in the comments, please don't. Keep your opinion to yourself. Well, you're free, you're gonna write it anyway. Actually, I don't care. Write whatever you want. So, here's my top 10 in no particular order. Number 1, and I thought I'd get this one just out of the way because it's so bleeding obvious if you know my channel. Can you guess who it is? Yes, it's Yngwie Malmsteen. Yeah, he's probably my biggest influence when it comes to guitar playing. Not necessarily musicianship, but definitely when it comes to guitar playing. He's brilliant. I mean, what can I say? He basically transformed guitar playing along with Eddie Van Halen. He almost invented a whole genre by himself. You might disagree. There have been others before him who have done slightly similar things, but let's face it, neoclassical shred, there's one guy we think of, and it's him. What can I say? Number 1 on my list is Yngwie Malmsteen, so that's the bleeding obvious one. And for copyright reasons, I won't be showing any of their music in this video. But I'll put links in the description below if you want to go and listen, if you haven't heard these particular guitar players before. Number 2. Yes, it's Stevie Ray Vaughan. I spent a huge chunk of my teenage years practicing to play like Stevie Ray Vaughan, or at least playing his songs. I did it with an Yngwie Malmsteen twist because I'm slightly, well, I'm wired that way. Stevie Ray Vaughan was an absolutely brilliant guitar player. And here's one of the things that you might not have noticed. There's a very good live show on YouTube filmed in Pori in Finland. Sometime in the 80s, I think it was midway through the 80s, and that's the one that I'll link to below, which is a brilliant gig, especially that one moment when he's playing a guitar solo and a guy walks just in front of the stage and Stevie Ray Vaughan just keeps playing but shakes the guy's hand. The guy's expression is priceless. It's just brilliant. Okay, number 3. Yes, indeed, it's Mr. Steve Vai, and he's probably, alongside Yngwie Malmsteen, my biggest influence. He might just be just a notch under, but still, absolutely great guitar player. And I loved his stuff all the way from Frank Zappa through to David Lee Roth and Whitesnake, and then his solo stuff. I remember I was a huge fan of his guitar playing in David Lee Roth and Whitesnake, and then I got the CD to Passion and Warfare, and I absolutely hated it. But I gave it a second chance a month later, and I still absolutely hated it. But there was something there in one song or another that I kind of was intrigued by. So I listened to it a third time and I still didn't like it, but it kind of opened itself up, and by the fifth or sixth time I listened to the album, I was in awe. It was a whole new universe. And that's kind of the best type of music I think there is, that you have to give it a few goes and then it kind of, so you don't like it instantly, but when you give it a few goes it kind of opens up and you notice stuff about that album. Even if you're listening to it the 50th time, you still notice something new about it. And Passion and Warfare definitely was that way for me. So was Sex and Religion. After that, I started to like his albums kind of instantly, but those two especially were, yeah, didn't like them at all when I first heard them. And an honourable mention here, Steve Vai, of course, introduced me to Devin Townsend. Not personally, what did you think? But through Devin Townsend singing on Sex and Religion, and Devin Townsend is one of my favourite musicians ever, definitely my favourite singer, so kudos to Steve for that as well. Okay, number 4 on the list. Now you might not instantly know who I was paraphrasing there, but it's the late and very great Danny Gatton. I remember when I was learning to play guitar, Sasha, my teacher, told me that if you learn any one song by Danny Gatton with all the little tricks and things that he does in that song, I could have any one of his guitars. Not Danny Gatton's, but my guitar teacher's guitars. And he has some brilliant guitar. He has an old Gibson Les Paul that I don't remember the price exactly, but I think someone offered him $50,000 for it and he said no. I might be wrong with that figure, but the figure was insane. So I could basically have that guitar if I wanted. Now Danny Gatton, obviously I instantly went, yeah, I'll listen to Danny Gatton, and I kind of, yeah, I'm not learning this stuff. This is way too difficult. I'm only getting started with the Steve Vai stuff and no idea what Danny Gatton was doing. I asked Sasha many years later if the offer was still standing, and he said, no, you're stupid, which of course I probably am. Yeah, Danny Gatton, he's one of the lesser known ones on this list. Absolutely do check him out, and he could play basically any kind of the old American styles. He could do country, he could do jazz, could do bits of rock and roll, and combine all of these, did chicken picking. And the great thing was that he had a sense of humor, which sadly a lot of people seem to be lacking. Okay, number 5. Yes, you might have heard of that English guitar player. His name is Jeff Beck. He is, he's so good. I mean, tons of reasons, but he just makes the guitar sing, and his playing speaks to you. It connects with you emotionally. Well, at least with me, I don't know about you, but for me, I mean, yeah, if I had to pick one who makes the guitar sing, it would be him. He's just amazing. And there are a ton of songs that you can listen to. That was Where Were You? There's so many. Nessun Dorma, his version of the Indian song Nadia is, I can't basically describe it. You have to listen to it yourself. He is absolutely brilliant. Now, it's number 6. Is number 6 a special number? I don't know. What am I talking? Number 6 is Kirk Hammett. Did you actually think I was going to include him on this list? Absolutely not. Sorry if you like him, I don't. Steve Lukather took a huge influence from, among others, Jeff Beck. And I like him for the reason that he manages to combine shredding, because he does shred occasionally, with a kind of more old school approach, even though his sound is much more modern than some of the old school guys. Now, he's widely been derided by the American musical press and probably the British musical press as well, with Rolling Stone, the magazine, being in the front row of basically saying that his band Toto were absolute crap. But here's the thing, have you actually listened to Toto? You might not like the music, but they're sensational players. And Steve Lukather on the guitar, I mean, just listen to that short guitar solo in Rosanna. That's alone is reason enough to at least consider him for one of these lists. It's a brilliant solo. He has a song called Song for Jeff, which was something he wrote for Jeff Porcaro, who sadly passed away. I think it was a heart attack. And that song is absolutely brilliant. Check it out in the description below. Great stuff. Okay, number 7. Yes, it's Mr. Tapping, although he's not Mr. Tapping, he does all kinds of stuff, but he's a guy who made tapping famous. He didn't invent it, by the way, but he did make it famous. Another absolutely insanely good guitar player. I remember hearing the story of Eddie Van Halen's Eruption and a guy in my local hometown, Turku, when Eruption came out. I think this would have been 1980-ish or late 79, and there was a guy who was trying to figure out how to play Eruption without tapping because he didn't know that it was tapped, and he said, how can this be played? And I think this has been quite a common occurrence back then, because 1980 you didn't really have videos to watch these guys do it live. So the first reaction when you heard that would have been like, what's that? And Eddie Van Halen's impact on guitar playing has been so huge that you have to have him on any top 10 list. Okay, number 8. Yes, it's Gary Moore, the Northern Irish legendary guitar player. I think he's slightly underrated by a lot of guitar players. I don't seem to remember him ever winning any readers' polls in Guitar Player or Guitar World back in the day, and I think he absolutely should have. Absolutely brilliant guitar player. Okay, I'm biased. He's the guy who got me started. It was his solo to Shapes of Things, the live version, which was like an eye-opener to me. That's what I wanted to play like. I wanted to play fast. It was especially one lick, which was basically just this. That was like, for me, that's what I want to do. That's my life from now on. I'm going to play guitar. But he was always in tune. He had great taste. He could play fast, he could play slow, and with feeling. Definitely on my list. Number 9. And I'm not gonna attempt to play like this guy because his playing was so weird in a way. Sounded so much different from anyone else. But it's Mr. Frank Zappa. He doesn't often get mentions as a guitar player. Obviously he gets mentioned as a brilliant kind of genius musician, which he was. But he's on my list for the simple reason that I can't think of any other guitar player who's put out albums of just guitar solos, not actual instrumental songs, but guitar solos from songs that I would want to listen to. Zappa's Shut Up and Play Your Guitar, Shut Up and Play Your Guitar Some More, and then he had the album Guitar and whatever. I think he made 4 albums or maybe 5 albums of just guitar solos. I could actually sit and listen to those. And if Yngwie Malmsteen did that, I couldn't listen to it. Pure and simple. I can do with Frank Zappa. So that for me makes him number 9 on my list. And if I forgot to say it, this list is in no particular order. Number 10. Ever wondered what it sounds like when someone butchers the solo to Bohemian Rhapsody? That was a good inclination or indication or whatever it's called. Yes, number 10 on my list is Mr. Brian May. Yes, what can I say? This is a very subjective list, and Brian May, even before I knew that I wanted to play guitar, even before I'd heard of Gary Moore or Yngwie Malmsteen or any of those guys, Queen was my favorite band, and I actually knew how to sing back before my voice broke when I was a pre-teen, when I was just a child. I could sing a few of Brian May's guitar solos. So it seems that I've always been drawn to guitar in some way, but for me, Brian May makes a top 10 list. And now, before you all get angry at me for not even mentioning Jimi Hendrix, well, I don't think Jimi Hendrix should be on a top 10 list of the best guitar players ever. Why? Purely for the simple reason that I don't think he's a guitar player, or was. I think he's something else. I think he just transcends that. The impact he had on guitar playing is way bigger than anyone else has had, at least as far as rock and roll electric guitar playing is concerned, because none of us would be here playing the way we do if it weren't for Jimi Hendrix. I think putting him on a top 10 list is just unfair to everyone else, because who can match up to him? Although, maybe that's the point of top 10 lists. So, that's why I didn't mention Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix is... yeah, I'm lost for words. Literally, I'm lost for words now. And before I end, I wanted to give an honorable mention to someone, Mattias Ia Eklund from Sweden. He's original because you recognize him instantly when you hear him play. He's creative, he has great technique, he's funny, he has a sense of humor. So that's Mattias Ia Eklund. If you haven't checked him out, I'll put him in the description as well, so you can check him out, because I think he deserves to be heard. That's my top 10 list, plus Jimi Hendrix, plus the honorable mention. I'm not on the top 10 list. How queer. Anyway, let me know who I forgot. There are a ton of people that I just left out. A top 10 list won't do justice to music in any shape or form. This was very much a rock and roll and kind of my upbringing type of list. There are others that I could have put there. Pat Metheny is one that I really love, Adrian Legg, and then you have all of the kind of classic Robert Johnson stuff and that kind of stuff. So that's all I have for you today. I hope you liked the video. Give it a thumbs up if you did, give it a thumbs down if you didn't, and comment, let me know. Like I said, let me know who I forgot. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, hit that bell notification thing, and support me on Patreon, because you get a bunch of exclusives like unreleased demos, live stuff that isn't available anywhere else of me actually playing music. And if you want my music, you can get that at Patreon as well, but you can get free music at my website, which the link is in the description as well. So, I hope to see you in another video. Take care. See you. Goodbye!
La 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 la